We're not live yet. Okay, so Bla Xit Family, Bla Xit Family, Bla Xit Family, we are live. I do apologize for the tardiness. It's coming into Touray and Eid here. And so I forgot that everyone will be shopping and that there will be a little traffic on the road. So Bla Xit Family, Bla Xit Family, Bla Xit Family, welcome to today's show. Today's live is going to be an explosive one, an exciting one. And so I'm going to post the link. So if you would like to join our esteemed guests, you can do a little later on. So I'm going to say greetings to our first viewer, Johnny Boy. Greetings, Bla Xit Family. And this is Jojo. Hi, how are you? And then Johnny Boy said, together we can. And so today's program is all about African liberation, unification, and of course, automatic citizenization. I know it doesn't rhyme. I tried a thing. You can't blame me for trying. So basically, it's been a hot debate. African liberation is coming up. Africa ALD, which is African Liberation Day, is coming up on the 25th of May. And we are celebrating here in the Gambia at the University of the Gambia from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. with the Pan-African Students Association, who are putting on a really grand affair here in the Gambia. So I wanted to talk about African liberation. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to us? What does it mean to everybody? Now, I have Ousman Touray, who is, a wonderful future Pan-Africanist leader, inspiration, and also educator, which a lot of us kind of miss the fact that he's very inspirational, and I learn a lot from him. And I'm glad he's so well read. And then we have Amos. Now, I know you've seen Ousman before because Ousman is getting famous now. And Ousman came under the wing of our wonderful prof, that's Professor PLO, and also with the guidance of Nana Kwame, also known as Jacob Caesar, and also connected there with the support of Woden Maya for his social media career moving forward. And of course, Bla Xit is originator, of his interview that went viral. And we've always, like I would say, got Ousman. Ousman is like our Gambian son. So, right, without further ado, I'm going to read you a little bit about Amos because I've got his profile here and it's impressive. So I wanted to share with you a little more about Amos before we bring him in to say hello. So Amos is a trained teacher by profession. So he's also an educator like Ousman. And Ousman is in Rwanda. And Amos, where are you? You're in Kenya?
I am in Kenya.
You're in Kenya. So we've got Gambia, Kenya, and Rwanda. Yeah? Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, so this is definitely a Pan-African show.
The regions are well represented.
Exactly. So you also have a degree in English and literature from the Kenyatta University in Nairobi. And you're also the founder of Loyi Afrique, which is Technology Limited and an empowering and bold African fashion label. Oh, I love clothes. I'm coming for some of those. To help to instill us with our African pride, which is brilliant. Your passionate is for the African dream, which is African unification. You're a Pan-Africanist. And so we have 3 Pan-Africanists here today. And so it's important that we remember why we want to be Pan-Africanist and what it's about. And it's about African liberation. And so we're going to be talking about that today. You also have been involved extensively with Pan-Africanism and activities spanning 38 countries, which is amazing. And you also part of the PLO Lumumba Foundation, and that operates with the Foundation of Work. You serve as an executive assistant with Professor PLO Lumumba. So coming forward, our next guest is now coming to join me. So I'm just going to get my stuff out of the way and ask him to join me on the hot seat today. And that is our MP, who's also a Pan-Africanist. here in the Gambia. And his name is Honorable Sulayman Saho, who's been joining us today. So we've nearly got 100 people. Let's hope that we can get to 100 so we can start. So please share, and let everybody know that we're going live. So I'm going to start by asking you, Ousman, and also you, Amos. I'm going to mute myself. What does African liberation mean to you?
Oh, okay. I thought Amos was going first. Yeah. Yes, Miss Juliet. Can we allow Amos to develop first, and then I will come.
Okay, thank you. In my view, I think African Liberation is Liberation Day is a day that we African come together and we try to flash back and try to look back what our forefathers always educate us. The forefathers like the Kwame Nkrumah, the Julius Nyerere, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, Amilcar Cabral, and quite a number of so many Pan-Africanists. So the liberation is just to decolonize our mind as Africans to have a better continent. So in a nutshell, just to save time, liberation means that we as Africans, we must accept our ideologies, we must accept our culture, we must accept our roots, and we appreciate our roots. So provided that we don't appreciate our roots, provided that we don't appreciate one another, then we are not liberated. So liberation is simply means that we decolonize our minds and we work as a team, and we appreciate our diverse culture and heritage.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. So I have our esteemed guests with us today, Honorable Sulayman Saho. Yeah. So share with the Bla Xit family. And if you're new to Bla Xit, it's your first time actually tuning in and watching one of our live streams. Bla Xit is all about us returning home to the motherland. And when I mean us, I'm talking about African descendants of the enslaved worldwide, coming back to their place of origin, being homecomers back here in Africa. And we are in Gambia. We have come to Gambia and we live in Gambia and we live here permanently and we love Gambia. So one of the staunch supporters for automatic citizenship here in the Gambia has been our Honorable Sulayman Saho. And I would like to know, what does African liberation, as a Pan-Africanist, what does African liberation mean to you? And tell people a little bit about yourself as well.
Thank you very much, Juliet. Thank you. I will call Ousman as Honorable Ousman Touray, future Honorable in making. And Amos too, I'm going to call you Honorable Amos. So we are all equals. It's a pleasure to be with you. And today is a very important day to you and I, because the discussion is about African liberation. Juliet, I am Honorable Sulayman Saho. I started as a classroom teacher, and during my school days in the college, we formed what is called Pan-African Society in the Gambia College. Now that's where I got the inspiration from, and I started reading more about Nkrumahism, more about Jomo Kenyatta, more about Amilcar Cabral, more about Sadauda Kairaba Jawara, more about Senghor of Senegal. So these people inspired me a lot, because they were the people who fought for our liberation. They are the people who led us to independence. Mm-hmm. Now, African Liberation Day is a day of reflection.
Yes.
It's a day that we need to think what happened to Africans. Mm-hmm. It's a day that Africans need to map out where are we heading to. Mm-hmm. It's a day that we need to glorify, in a sense that we have known the problems, now we need to find solutions to the problems.
Yes.
It's a day that we need to reflect on how our forefathers were snatched from their families and taken into slavery. This was the wicked thing that happened so far in history. But we are not here to revenge. We are not here to pay back. We are here to carve a way for common good. We are here to build unity among ourselves, to see us as friends, not as enemies. Now, coming to the Africans, who lives in diaspora, who wants to come back home, they have no home than Africa. They have no home than Africa. If you ask the Jewish people, they always claim Israel to be their home. If you are a Jew anywhere in the world, you claim Israel to be your home. So what of Africans? Who are we to say no to the Africans in diaspora?
Yes.
Where is the difference? The difference is not there. Now, Martin Luther King had a dream, but the dream was between the white and the blacks. I have a dream. The dream is us Africans who are living in Africa and our diaspora to sit on a table to discuss about common good of Africa. How can we develop our villages? How can we emancipate our people from poverty? Correct.
Wow. So, listen, Ousman, yeah, it must be in the Domada. Yeah? Oh, so Uz, come and join us. Come on in.
So much. Thank you so much, Juliet. Mr. Saho or Honorable Saho, I just want to say that maybe he has
Nyancho Kujabi, come on now.
Yes,
Nyancho.
of course. Of course, Nyancho, because you are truly a woman warrior, and we celebrate you for that. And to Honorable Saho, I know that you've taken the Domoda before coming in here. No wonder he's really active. Thank you so much. And my brother Amos, thank you so much for that intro. And Amos is someone that I met when I went to meet Piolo Lumumba himself, and he was the very individual who facilitated my whole trip to Kenya by doing all the logistics. So thank you so much again. Not very long ago, we were together in Nairobi, and that just tells the importance of having young people, because to me, initially, when I heard the name Piolo Lumumba, I thought at least I will meet maybe someone who is 50-year-old or so as a personal assistant. But when I walked to his office, Amos is the one that I found there. And that shows that he is in for empowering young people. And he knows that that is where sustainability lies, and that is where the development of Africa heads to. Now, coming down to the topic of discussion today, the African Liberation Day is a day that we have been celebrating since 1963 as a result of the formation of the Organization of African Union. And today, I think what we need to do is just to reflect on the central theme that led to the formation of the Organization of African Union, which was building unity, that is African people coming together as one. And that agenda was just something that they succeeded from the people who championed Pan-Africanism. We have to understand that even during colonialism, there were Africans who sit down and resist about the whole system and said, we don't want to go, we want to remain in Africa. And they have been calling for that, even though if their voices have not reached where some of our voices today have been. We can talk about the likes of Kunta Kinte, who came from a village in the Gambia. He resisted. He has done a lot from the Gambia. He was forced to leave. He was forced and taken away, but yet his resistance has been an inspiration to many other Africans across the globe who have in one way or the other stood and say, yes, Africans can do it, and we have to go home and build our nation. It was in the words of Marcus Garvey that the way in which the world is moving, every race deserves a home. In Rwanda, today we have the Chinese who owns China. I mean, solely it is theirs. We are talking about Israel. It is solely a Jewish nation. We're talking about America. We're talking about the British. We're talking about every other race. We have to understand that Africa belongs to Africans, and that is why we need to take control of it. The theme of this year's Africa Liberation Day is silencing the gun in Africa, shaping a way as a pattern for African development, but also fighting against COVID-19. This is the central theme for this year's debate, and we have to reflect on it. When we look about, or when we talk about silencing the gun in Africa, we have to understand that we still have young people in Africa that are in forests, that are in bush, that are in places where they don't deserve to be. We have to call on these very individuals, get them on board. It is a mind thing, because if the African understands that a fellow African is a brother and a sister, we will no longer have the time to carry a gun against a fellow African. And we have to understand that today we still have few Africans fighting as a result of a political interest. We still have Africans fighting as a result of religion. We still have Africans fighting as a result of tribal differences. And these are things that are fundamental, that if Africa wants to move forward, we have to bring solution. And that is why it is very important that we sit here and reflect on it. And again, the African development is a concern to every genuine African. We have to move forward by building more infrastructure, but making Africa a safer place for every African and for everybody that is coming into the continent. And again, reflecting on COVID-19, the pandemic, whatever it is, has really destroyed and affected a lot of issues within Africa. And we have to reflect in it, but also to understand that Africa should invest in security, more especially in the health sector, making sure that we protect our citizenry, making sure that the future of Africa can be predictable by Africans and not just having to wait for outsiders to give support to that. Thank you very much.
Okay, we've been joined by Bijou. I'm glad that you could join us. I didn't get confirmation that you was going to join us, so I didn't advertise. But thank you so much for joining us last night. Just to give you a bit of backdrop, everybody, I met Bijou through Bla Xit, and Bijou also came, and she purchased land here in the Gambia before she even came here, because she hasn't even reached here yet. She's coming though. She's coming. And you know, we struck a kinship in the way as sisters do, and I think that she has the fire of the revolutionary. She is the ancestor of Dottie Bookman. I'm convinced she is the ancestor of Dottie Bookman, and she has ancestors right here in Gambia, in Banjul, even though she was born in Haiti. So she has made a connection between Haiti and her ancestors still alive today in Banjul.
Wow.
So she's a living example of being able to trace her roots right back here to Gambia. So I behoove anybody to tell her she's not Gambian. I behoove anybody to tell her that she's not African. I behoove anybody to tell her that she should not be able to restore her birthright of citizenship. I behoove anybody to set controlling conditions on an African whose history has been one of revolutionary uprising and freedom of Africans. Mm-hmm. The Haitian Revolution, August 22. Yeah, I will never forget that day. Yeah, because that's the date that we got married on. I got married on the date of the Haitian Revolution, because I said to Adrian, if our union can't be a revolution, we're not getting married. So, you know, welcome to the show, sis. And Bijou was also a fellow vlogger. She's also a content creator, and she's right now in the States. So share with everybody your story and tell us, what does African liberation mean to you? I haven't given my definition yet, so I'm going to save myself till last because Nyancho Kajabi sometimes cuts her words a little bit close to the cloth. So I'm gonna mute off and give you the floor now, sis.
African liberation, and I want to say hello to everybody on the panel and everyone in the comment section. I think this is a beautiful thing, and I really look forward to the time where we take Africanness and African liberation and celebrate ourselves. I really look forward to the time when we do this worldwide. It's funny that you brought up Dirty Bookman, because my preference for when I think about African liberation, I think about the young man that was taken out of Senegambia at the age, of I think they say 2 or 3, and taken to Jamaica and then sold to the island of Haiti. And it's funny that you said that. If you don't mind, I'd like to share a chart with you guys. Something that Juliet brought this up. We didn't talk about this, guys. This is something that I was thinking, and I was like, oh, wow, how did she know what I was thinking about? But I wanted to share this because I'm hoping that there's enough Gambians in here that is interested in Dirty Bookman, because I feel like he should be a part of Gambians' history, something that should be celebrated, because Dirty Bookman, if it was not for him, slavery would still be on this planet. The Haitian Revolution was the only revolution that was successful between Blacks and whites. And because of the Haitian Revolution, many revolutions happened after that. And I just want to share this with you guys real quick. I don't know if you can see the screen. Can you see it? I don't know. Okay, so hopefully, there it is. So this is Dirty Bookman. And that is his, that's the way he looked, guys. They actually had a photograph of him prior to him being killed. That being said, I'm gonna try to go down into the story, and matter of fact, one moment, I think I went on to that is a picture of him, but I want to make sure I get the story so you can see exactly what I'm seeing here. One moment. Take you guys to school. One moment. All right, so this should be it, a better screen. All right, I think that should be a better visual for everybody. Can you guys see that? No, you can't see that. Hold on. This is ridiculous. All right. All right. I think that should be it. So this right here, can you guys see it? Okay, so this is Dirty Bookman. This is a real photograph of him. This man would have been born in the Senegambian region and then sold to the Jamaica at a very young age, prior to even turning 4 or 5, they said. He stayed in Jamaica until he was like 12. And then if you read down here, I'm going to highlight it. So this man was taken from Senegambia, present day Senegambia. Do you see that where I highlighted it? Basically, note that this man was the first, the one of the 3 people that headlighted the Haitian Revolution. And if anybody knows anything about the Haitian Revolution, like I said, it was one of the only one till to date that was a successful revolution. What African liberation has become for me is the excitement of learning where all of this started. I've always been proud of being a Haitian. I was always proud of being an African, but very proud of being a Haitian because Haitians are the type of people that fight. We don't give up, we fight. And so finding out that, 2 years ago, I had purchased this land in the Gambia, not knowing, one, that, this man was connected with the Gambia, that Haiti had a strong connection with the Gambia. 2, not knowing that I was going to be able to find family in the Gambia. So, that being said, it's just been such a journey for me. So what Black liberation means, what African liberation means to me is total freedom. I don't think we're there yet, guys. I think we're getting there, and I think that the part that we're going to play as a people to try to wake up our people and to inform them of all the options that they have, inform them of what needs to be done, informing them that unity is the most important thing. I think once we can, and it's you guys, especially you, the younger generations, play such a role. It's not going to be an easy process. There are some fears. I think the biggest concern for all of us is that we're all afraid. We're coming from different places. They've told us terrible things about each other, off continent, on continent. We have reasons to be afraid of each other because they made us hate ourselves. So I think we're going right now, this generation, you are the generation that's going to teach us. You're going to teach us how to love ourselves, reach out, you young people on the continent, try to connect with young people off the continent, have discussions about your culture, learn about what they've been doing, their culture. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to what the media is telling you. Sometimes don't even listen to what your elders are telling you, because they've been preconditioned as well to be afraid. Just understand that the moves that you guys make now is gonna benefit us. It's gonna benefit our future selves. And there is no way out of this situation that we are in as a people other than unity. Nowhere out but unity. So that's my when I think about African liberation, I think of unity, and I think we're in the era of unity, regardless of how hard it seems sometimes. I think we're coming together, and I think that's the answer.
Thank you. That was powerful, and I was glad to see about Dottie Bookman, and I'm going to share with my hero Kunta Kinte, and I listen, Kissy's my girl, and Kissy, the word Kissy I learned is meant to return. It means to return. So when you're looking at the word Kissy and you're talking about it in context with Kunta Kinte and roots. So I just want to start by talking and now sharing what my take on African liberation is and why it was, because African liberation started with African unity, okay? And why was it started with Kwame Nkrumah and Haile Selassie and so many of our powerful leaders? Why? It was started because there was a need. Okay, it was in answer to a fundamental need. And that need was for us to come together to protect ourselves, our resources, our country, our family, our culture, our traditions, our identity, our institutions, and our future. That is what the liberation has fundamentally come from. Liberation means to be free. How many African countries were free at that time?
Very few.
How many had to go through so-called paper independence, but were still connected to the crown? And it was the crown that was commissioning the boats that took their ancestors in the first place. While they still had governors connected, controlling what they can and can't do, they still had imperialistic laws. They still had colonial laws. They still do have colonial laws. They still have colonial constitutions. Ask yourself this: how can England have an unwritten constitution but impose a written constitution on African nations? Ask yourself, who started democracy? Who started sitting under the mango tree with the Council of Elders?
Africa.
Where did it start from? Who does it start from? How did they hijack everything we have stood for? We have created, we have originated, instigated, motivated. That's what liberation is. Liberation is ownership of your own destiny. Liberation is being in control of your own creation. Liberation is determination, self-determination to everything from your resources to your agricultural courses, to your horses, to your donkeys, to your chicken, to your fowl, to your family, to even the water in your ground. That's liberation. Liberation is being free of economical control, financial control. No World Bank, IMF are going to control exactly what you spend and where your stuff is and how much you can have in your bank, in your budget, and what you can spend on a road, or how much you can spend on an airport, or what you can do in order to make sure that your family can eat through COVID with one bottle of oil and one bag of rice. Liberation is being self-sufficient. Liberation is being independent. Liberation is being out of your control, out of the imperialistic, colonialistic, and fascist, oppressive, suppressive, and totally destructive control of people who genocided and murdered your ancestors. And realizing who they are, and what they stand for. That's liberation. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to Honorable Sulayman to add in about unification. I'm adding on this. Every time I'm adding on this, it's going to be a very interesting show. I'm adding on this. So we started to talk about liberation. Let's talk about unification. And then we're going to talk about automatic citizenship, because I got words for you, babies. I got words for my people. I got words for my African brothers and sisters worldwide. I got words, but don't let me interrupt you. Share your words, my brother.
Okay, thank you very much, Juliet. And I would like to thank Gina for that historic background. You have already enriched my history, and you made me to read more. And I believe we can have more Gambians like your grandparents, who also went such a horrendous journey. Now I'll come back to Mr. Touray, Ousman. You made mention of this year's African liberation as COVID and as silencing the gun. We cannot silence the gun when we have good governance in Africa, when our leaders are so corrupt, when our mega resources are not protected. Look at the Gambia, for example, what is happening. We all call Africa as the richest continent because the land is fertile. We have the land. But the land and the rivers and the oceans are not benefiting us. Instead, they are benefiting people who don't have any link to Africa. How can we silence the gun? We can't. When corruption is walking naked, when the mega resources is looted, the few are getting rich and richer, the majority are getting poorer and poorer. How can you imagine up to now, you have communities, they drink from wells where the wells are habited by frogs. It's happening. So it's really disheartening. If you want to make sure that we don't have rebellion, we don't have war in Africa, let the national cake be equitably distributed. Let the people be given the chance. You understand? Why do we come up as MPs to support Black Xit? Because we believe that there are certain things we need our leaders to act. It cannot be done without having a good leadership. You understand? We need good drivers to drive us so that we go together. But you can't ask the followers to follow well when the leaders are not behaving as expected from them. So time has come for us to look at our constitutions, to look at the laws that are colonial laws that are not helping our countries. We change them. They have to be amended. They have to be thrown out. You know, in the Gambia still now we have our laws that are as old as my grandma. But what are they helping to the young generation? And if you go to other African countries, it's the same. So this year's African liberation must be frank talk. We either move as a nation, cultural nation, or we perish. You understand? We must revisit our curriculums. The history that is given us is polluted. In the Gambia, none of us know the history about the ancestors of Gina that he's talking about. She's talking about. And we have to understand that the black people coming home, we are not giving them, it's not that we are just giving them chance to rob our resources or to grab our land. They are not doing that. But they must be given an opportunity and be respected. They must have a place to settle. And besides, we don't have evidence. Like, who can give me the data to say so-and-so came from Gambia, which part of Gambia, Padibu, Okiang, Ojar? We don't have, they destroy all the evidences. They gave them names that are not our African names. And the surnames are not African surnames. So which family will they come and say, you know, here we are and we are going to settle by force? We must use our sense to welcome them, to live with them, to show them our culture. We have to teach them our culture. We teach each other and support each other. The journey, we must move with the journey. It's not time for Africans to blame one another. It's not time for Africans to fight each other, but it's time for Africans to embrace each other in sincerity and truthfulness.
Wow. Listen, I've asked Honorable Sekou Morong to also join us, because I'm not partisan and I'm not political. Yeah, for as far as I'm concerned, this is open for everybody. Yeah, I support the Gambia, and that means I support all NAMs, which are National Assembly members. I'm not partisan to any party. I'm just for African unity. Yeah, so this is not anything political. In fact, it's apolitical. It's the opposite, because unification, right, has to be about everybody being apolitical. That means circumventing, right, some of the directives which were given to us and recreating our own narrative as Africans. The Berlin Conference, I'm going to ask Ousman, when was the Berlin Conference? Do you remember the year? I'm trying to remember. 1884 to 85. Thank you. So Ousman, I want you to answer to this, okay? Are you ready? So we're talking about unification now. So this is why I'm swinging to the Berlin Conference here. I hope you get my flow, Bla Xit Family. You know, I hope you're staying with us, Bla Xit Family. And I want you to remember, we all love you, Bla Xit Family, okay? All 3.5 million of you. Yeah, we love you, okay? So I want to say is 1884 to 1885. They sat down in a house in London. I've actually been there.
No, in Bali. Bali.
Chatham. Where was Chatham House?
The 1884 you mean? 1884.
1884, was it Chatham?
It was in Bali.
It was in Berlin, and then it went to London, was it? Yeah. Chatham. No, Chatham House. I'm thinking, sorry. Chatham House, I'm thinking Zimbabwe. Excuse me. Okay, so the Berlin Conference, obviously it's named Berlin Conference, Junior, was in 1884 to 1885. And this created artificial borders and artificial countries in Africa, which was done by imperialistic and, as per usual, right, force. Yeah, and this was done automatically. Okay, so we're going to talk about automatic citizenship in a minute, because the separation of Africa was done automatically. Okay, and still to today, who's objecting to these borders? Yeah, that separate us. If I travel to Senegal, I have to get the CFA. When I go to Sierra Leone, I have to get the Leon. Yeah, and none of these currencies have what we call an exchangeable value that is mutual. And when I change it into Delassies, what's your currency in Rwanda, Bruce? What's your currency, Amos, and what's your currency, Gina?
Our
Dollars.
currency is called the Kenya shillings.
Kenya shilling, Bruce?
And they have the Rwandan franc.
Okay, so we got shillings, which is an old English word. We got franc, which is a colonial French word. And then we got dollar, which is the original American colonial word. And here we have the lassies, which sounds better, actually. It sounds African. So big up Gambia. So I want you to talk, Uz, and then Gina and Amos. I want you to have a discussion. Here comes Adrian. Here comes Adrian. Adrian, you ready to jump in? Yeah. I want us to talk to unification in line of what should now be changed by African nations, in line of the fact that we're aware now of what 1884 and 1885 was, what the purpose of 1884 and 1885 was, and where Africa as a nation should be, given that at one point, I remember reading Chancellor J. Williams' book about the destruction of the civilization, Black civilization, and in it he talked about the fact that there used to be just one constitution, you know, across Africa. And so, you know, one constitution, one nation is just empires. So what can we do today? Kwame Nkrumah, he said, right, don't get me wrong, right? Kwame, I love Kwame to bits. I didn't like his choice of last wife, I'm not gonna lie, because I keep it black all day long, yeah? And he should have married a sister. I don't know where he was going with that. Yeah, a lot of them make that mistake, like Frederick Douglass. I don't know where they're going with that. They need to stay black all the way. But anyway, let me just say what he did, yeah? He said that, you know, when they had the Pan-African Conference, that all African nations need to make a goal to come together, to unify as one nation, in the same way that you have United States of Africa, America, you see me, whoop. And the same way that you have also, you know, China, you have all different continents, Australia, you have many other places, yeah, that have unified. You have the European Union, okay? Just to mention, Lisa, I want you to talk to that. Tell me about how do you see and what is the blueprint? What is the plan? What is the strategy moving forward for the unification of Africa, including the diaspora? I'm silencing myself now. Over to you, Uz. I'm going to come to you, Honorable Sulayman, soon, and Gina and Amos. So after Ousman, we'll do Amos, and then we'll have Gina, and then we'll go back to you, Honorable.
Yes, Juliet. I want to allow Amos to go first, and then I follow.
Say hi.
Ousman is saying that I proceed.
And Sister Amos,
Okay.
and our brother Ousman Touray. Give thanks, give thanks. I said Amos, brother
Brother.
Amos. And Xit Family.
Yeah.
Thank you all for the constant support, you know. And together we're strong. Africa for Africans, home and abroad. We are one people.
Good.
You know, we can't be divided. We have to come stronger together, you know.
Agreed.
So Ousman Touray, the floor is yours.
As one we are many, and as many we are one. Talk unification, my brother.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I want Amos to take the lead because today I'm his host in the
Okay.
show.
It's okay. I just want to take this opportunity to thank the host, and also to thank Gina and Honorable Saho and the Honorable who has just joined us now. Now, just to go into a little detail on how Africa, we have not been decolonizing this our mind, because that is the main theme that I want to talk about today, because that is what can bring us liberation. As far as I'm concerned, we are still not liberated. And the reason why we are still not liberated is that it does not make sense at all that Africa can have so much resources, but we still languish in the heart of poverty. When I watch news across Africa, my heart bleeds when I see fellow Africans dying of hunger Yet we have fertile soil and good weather to support our agricultural sector for food security. It really pains me. We have amazing and unique African languages, such as the Swahili, the Shona, the Kinyarwanda, the Luganda, the Yoruba, the Hausa, the Igbo, the Zulu, the Oromo, name them. But we are made to believe that the foreign languages are better than our own. So lack of a common language is one of the reasons why Africans are not united. Why don't we use Swahili or Shona or Kinyarwanda as our common language? Unity is not about writing many policy papers, which will take centuries to be approved by our own. It really pains, dear. Unity is putting this into practice with little baby steps, which eventually will bear as fruits. But my heart is bleeding now that we are not united. And provided that we are not united as Africans, then we cannot liberate ourselves. We are still not liberated. It is only in our continent, Africa, that we have different currencies with low value. Look at the euro, or even the US dollar, or even the dirham. They have higher value than all our currencies in Africa. Can we really compete with them economically with other countries when a US dollar is triple the leon of Sierra Leone? Our currency cannot even support inter-Africa trade. Why don't we have, let's say, for example, Afro, or whichever the names that we are going to come up with, so that we can have our own common currency to support our trade? Have a look at our passports. I mean, we are all strangers and foreigners in our own continent, dear Africans. Because of these different passports, whose main aim is just to enrich the small elite. What is the need of having passports that don't give us access to our neighbors' countries, or even other countries in Africa? So as much as we are still talking about the liberation of Africa, I still feel that there is a lot that we still need to do as young people. There's a lot that we still need to do as government of Africans. There's a lot that we still need to do at individual level. What are we doing? I mean, we are full of this organization, we call it ECOWAS, the East Africa Community, AU, but we are writing so many things and we are not making any step. So for how long are we going to lament Africa? We have lost so many people. We have sacrificed a lot. Steve Biko went, Solomon Mlango went, Thomas Sankara went, Kwame Nkrumah went, Modibo Keita went, Hamilcar Cabral went. So for how long are we going to keep on losing all these people? Very soon we'll be losing even young people. So not unless we liberate our mind, we decolonize our mind and we begin to live as Africans, trust me, we are still not liberated. And it has to start today. Let us not wait. Let us not be in the business of writing so many things that don't make value to us. Let us take this baby step. Even if we don't enjoy the fruits, let our great-great-grandchildren enjoy the fruits, because we have lost a lot. So it's very painful. Young people who are listening to us outside there, this is the time. I mean, we are tired of lamenting about the government. What are you doing at individual level? What are you doing? So, I mean, I can talk and talk, but let us see how we can now make this thing work. There is a book that has been written by Greg Mills called Making Africa Works, which I recommend to you listeners. We can only make the ideologies of the late co-founders of the Pan-African work if we now put all these things into action. We are tired of talking and we are not making little steps. Now that we have even the African Continental Free Trade, this is the time now we need to push it as Africans. This is the time now we need to tell them they wake up. Let us not have excuses of COVID-19 because diseases will come and go. We have HIV and AIDS. It is there. We'll still live with it. We have Ebola. It is there. We'll still live with it. So provided that we'll have all these excuses when things come, this came and this came. Now look at the Agenda 2063, a very good document, which has been made actually as it. They have put it as Agenda 2063 so that by the time they finish their power, they shall have not implemented what is on the paper. So let us think as young people and start with our little energy and start from our little villages, changing the little villages. Let us not dream of changing the entire continent. Well, we cannot even change our own house. Thank you.
Listen, that was eloquently put and well said. I mean, you spoke the truth. You spoke to my heart. You spoke how I feel. And like I said, let's start in the villages. Bla Xit is doing this in the villages. And, you know, I'm going to go to you, Oz, but I just want to say that we have automatic citizenship here in Gambia. Yeah, because we are already citizens. Yeah, we will talk to this afterwards, but I want to say that it has to start in the villages because we were made citizens of Bussorah. And so it has to start in the villages. The unification has to start in the villages, you're right. So I'm going to go to Oz and I'm going to meet off then, Gina, and then we'll go to you, Honourable.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nyanjo Kujabi, and thank you so much, Honorable Saho. We're definitely grateful for your presentation, and thank you so much, Gina. We're definitely grateful for the insight and also taking us back to our history. And Amos, I'm really grateful. And I know that you are an individual who reads a lot and well attached to literatures around Pan-Africanism. So yes, I know from here you will be sending me some few books again. And okay, back to the topic. Thank you so much, Juliet. And I just want to say this. Now that we are here discussing about a blueprint, now that we are here discussing about what is the way forward for the continent, we must not ignore the realities on the ground. Africa is way more complex than what most of us think it is. We have to understand that we have a lot of things. This country or this continent have undergone destruction for more than 500 years. And sometimes we ignore those realities. We have to understand that the disconnection that happens today between Africans has been a work of centuries. And in moving forward, we have to be strategic, we have to be holistic in making sure that we shape a trajectory. We may not be the winners as we are here today discussing, but it is for the generations of Africans that are to come. And we have to understand that there cannot be a great impact if we do not sacrifice. And it is very true that we are here making a discussion. We're here giving up points. We're here trying to convince individuals. We're here trying to make sure that we communicate to that young African that is today looking at another African as a threat, that is today looking at another African as an enemy, that is looking at another African and not being able to understand that you have a bigger relation, you have a bigger interest that you need to work together to save. Many leaders in the continent have emerged and down the line, they've been destroyed or they've been eliminated by individuals. And it does not necessarily mean that people have to travel all the way to Africa to eliminate them. No. As we are discussing here, we still have other Africans that see us as a threat for making this life and talking about the positivity of Africa, because someone is out there giving money or putting something in their pockets. And as a result of that personal benefit, they don't want to see this moving. Today, it is not a national issue. It is not a country issue. Africa as a whole need to wake up. We have to liberate our minds. We have to decolonize our institutions, because African institutions are still living under extreme colonialism. Starting from the African Union that championed the day that we are talking about today. How can the building complex of the African Union be built by the support of Chinese? And we still think that we own that same complex? We still think that they don't have an influence in it? How many African countries today have stood up to come up with discoveries, to build factories, or to build industries that are able to transform the resources that Africa sits on for the benefit of Africans? Today, we see Congo as the richest region in the world in terms of mineral resources. Why is it that most of its people are today living under abject poverty? If you measure it monetarily, they live in less than $2 per day. You look at it on a human development index or whatever, look at what the average people in Congo, in many other regions in Africa, are able to create for themselves. Forgetting that the same children walking to school in those streets, walking to school through those forests, through those bushes and etc., are stepping on minerals that their schools that they are going will never teach them anything that has to deal with adding values to those resources. This is why we have the problem. Africa cannot move if we cannot design an education system fit for purpose. We must be educated in the reality of the African continent. We must be educated to understand that we have an environment that can sustain us. Why do you think we still need projects outside of Africa to be financed by individuals? Why do you think that researchers in Africa, academic institutions in Africa cannot shape a map or a trajectory for African development? Because what we learn in school is far from the reality on the ground. We go to school to be more disconnected from solving our own community problems. Why do you think today every African in school is thinking about running away from the continent to go and complete their studies in the West? It's because our governments are not enablers. It's because we have failed this generation to create a platform, to create an environment where the young African can stay, harness their potentials, and at the same time shape a trajectory for Africa. We are now talking about the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and we still have a problem of political will among African states in making sure that we can integrate among ourselves in terms of trade. We don't have a common currency. Even if we want to trade within Africa, we still need the US dollar, we still need the British pound, we still need the euro, and we think we own our economy. Where is liberation in Africa if we do not have an economy that belongs to us? And we can't lose faith. We cannot say all this and think we can move forward. Of course, there must be African youths that come out and champion this cause to make sure that in the mind of every African, there is a collective interest, and that is seeing Africa forward. That the agendas that we are talking about for the future of this continent is well communicated in the minds of the Africans, that the history of Africa is reminded or is put in the mind of every young Africans, that promote patriotism, that promote the knowledge of the South, that with whatever skill that I have, I will think about coming up with a societal solution to one of the problems in Africa. Just to talk about a little on COVID-19 today. How many African countries have produced a vaccine in Africa that is to combat COVID-19? Zero. None. All the vaccines that we are talking about, that we are accepting today, are all produced outside of the continent. But does that mean that Africans are not able to create vaccines or make vaccines? No, because in all the vaccines that are being available today, there must be an African, there must be a Black individual as one of the champions. But they have been denied the atmosphere in our own continent, and that's why they have to run away to go and help other nations build it. How many billions of dollars are pharmaceutical industries going to benefit from this vaccine? We are just going to be buying them. And is there the certainty? Has the vaccine really been looked into in an African perspective, in an African reality? We examine in every village in Africa to see the effectiveness and etc. These are things that we must not ignore. Africa needs a holistic approach. The mindset is just one thing. The entry point is the education. We must put skills in our education system. That once we go to school, we learn skills. That once we go to school, we are taught about our history. We become patriots, and we are ready to champion a cause in Africa. And that is how we can liberate ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Words, speech, power. Listen, I got to say, both you and Amos, yeah, I'm so proud of you both. I'm so proud. Honestly, I am so proud. And my family, everybody's so proud of you. And, you know, if you are the future, I am so excited. I am so excited. I can't deny it, you know? But, I mean, speak to the unification. I'm going to bring it back to what the subject was when we were talking about 1884, 1885, Berlin Conference, the way in which, you know, colonialists, they basically imposed these artificial borders. Genocide, war, trickery, manipulation, thick resources, fake promises, fake contracts, and corruption, basically. So that created these borders, new and different economies, and basically separate countries. And like I said, Kwame Nkrumah, you know, at the Pan-African Conference of at the time, it wasn't the African Union, it was of African Unity, African Unity Organization. He basically said that, you know, we should all come together, as one continent, and work together as one continent, one leadership, one currency, one unity, one people.
Like what Amos and Ousman has been talking about. This has been something that has been discussed since the formation of OAU, and there was a transition from OAU to AU. Still, the same problem remains a challenge. You know, sir, we are not saying it will be wrong to conclude that they have not done anything, but the basic things that should be addressed are not addressed. That is about unity, about common currency. You understand? You know, up to now, free trade among these countries. Even Senegal and Gambia, there is no free trade. There is no free movement of goods and services. So if you talk of AU, you talk of SEDEC, what they have on paper, the objectives of those institutions are not reflected on the ground. Now, coming to the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference was summoned by Ottoman Bismarck. He called 16 to 17 European nations. They took a map of Africa, put it on the wall, say Africa as their grandfather's king. Belgium, you take this. Britain, you take this. I'm going to take this. You take this. So this is how it was done. You understand? With the formation of OAU, these are some of the challenges. These are some of the things that they need to really look at. Since those people met in Berlin and decided on our behalf, unjustly, they have to do the reverse. The meeting that was held in Ethiopia by Emperor and his prime minister, because they call the people. You understand? These are some of the things. These colonial boundaries must be demolished. You cannot have a family, a brother in Senegal, you have a brother in Gambia. Still, they use different currencies. They are not allowed. Sometimes when political participation about to happen, they are not allowed to mingle, to share. Jinak Island, for example, we have 2 villages in Senegal, 2 villages in Gambia. So you can see the line that drew one island. Imagine. And these are the people that intermarry. You understand? So where is the common currency? Why some are using SAFE, some are using Talasi? Where is the language? Our language. I think the language is very, very key in this problem.
Yes.
Because they cannot negate or neglect the language that we are born with, that we understand, and brought foreign language to us. No vernacular in the classroom. If you speak vernacular, you put symbol on your name. It's an insult. But who asked them to revisit? Now they are trying to bring local language in the school. So our talking is high time, we have leaders who will think for us. So now we need to ask ourselves, AU Summit and ECOWAS Summit, is it talk shops? Or is it workshops? Or is it there to drink, and enjoy themselves and enjoy padiums? We need to find out. Because still now, Africa cannot solve this problem. I think if you know the problem, at least you have solution to that problem once you know it. But we cannot be talking about the same problem, singing about the same problem. Leaders will come and go. And even among themselves, those who go to ECOWAS or AU, they cannot have time limit among themselves. You understand? They make their citizens to suffer. They cannot provide basic health care service. Thomas Sankara did it in Burkina Faso. Yes. He makes sure that people are supplied with good drinking water, health facility. Primary health care was promoted. Now what is the situation on the ground? So it means our ancestors or our forefathers have taken 20 steps forward and we have taken 50 steps backward. Yeah. So I'm appealing to African leaders. I'm appealing to all Africans. This is a concern. Our country is under serious crisis, and God will never send angels from the sky to solve our problem. We will solve our problem, and we need to. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, so Gina, I'm going to go to you, and then I'll jump in.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
I want to thank Ousman, Amos, and I want to thank my brother. I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but thank you so much. You said something that was really interesting. It actually led to what I was thinking while you were talking. I was thinking about the fact that, when we talk about the Berlin Conference, there's something that we need to understand. And there's something that we need to come to terms with. That was the white man taking on the white man's burden. Last week on my channel, I had a discussion about the black man's burden versus the white man's burden. Okay, the Berlin Conference was the white man's burden. This burden, and it's funny because there's a poem called The White Man's Burden, and I believe it's by, what's his name? I believe it's Rudyard Kipling, 1898, some magazine, but it's very popular. If you Google it, you'll be able to find it, The White Man's Burden. Okay, so when we talk about the Berlin Conference, we are very much talking about the white man's burden, and they felt like their burden was to educate and to civilize the savages throughout the world. They didn't just do it to us, they did it to the world. Let's talk about that. That being said, putting them aside, I think it's now time, and I think it's in our time, we are now in a position to pick up the Black man's burden. The Black man's burden is, let's talk about us coming together and having the important discussions, just like we're doing right now. But, you know, somewhere where we could really talk about, you know, outside of the scene of YouTube, where we could really start talking about ways to occupy our minds, to take over the things that were taken from us, and to receive the powers that we were given by this universe. Everything that was taken from us, we need to try to figure out a way to get them. When I think about the Berlin Conference, I always say there used to be a time that I would get so upset. But now that I'm looking at it for what it is, in all actuality, you know, it really should be giving us the momentum to do everything that we need to do, which means that there needs to be some sacrifices. When I talk about sacrifices, I'm talking about those of which that we can do internally. We can make sacrifices internally. We could start by one, like Amos said, it's time that we start looking at each other as brother and sister for real. It's time that we understand that we need to see our race and understand that we were once one people that were divided. Wherever we are in this world, be it that you're on the continent, off the continent, on the moon, we're still one people. And we need to be fighting a fight for that people. It doesn't mean that, you know, I'm a humanist first and foremost. I want to say that I don't have any hate in my heart towards anyone, but I have a lot of love for my people, and I do now understand that the only way that we're going to be able to move forward is to come to terms that we have quite a work to do. We have sacrifices to make. We have a lot of difficult discussions to make before we can get to those sacrifices. We have some biases to let go of. And we have to come to terms with some of the times that we've dropped the ball that allowed other people to pick it up and keep running. Now it's time for us to take responsibility for the mistakes that we've made in our past. And we're not going to be able to move forward otherwise. And it's sometimes it's a little bit, it's uncomfortable, some of the conversations that we're going to have. You know what I mean? But we're not going to be able to push forward. Let's think about the Berlin Conference. Let's go back to them. Prior to them being able to do all that they did, there were a lot of fights. They had a lot of discretion. They had they had to come to terms with who they were. And it's important that before we can even put in the work, we have to come to terms with who we are. We have to be able to look at the man in the mirror and feel good about him. And when we get to that place, we'll be able to accept him as ourselves. Now, are we able to do that? Because you see, we could talk about A, B, C, D, E, but we're stuck at A. How can I look at you and realize that you're me? How can I stand here in Atlanta, Georgia, and know that if you are in Rwanda, you're in Kenya, you're in Gambia, that we're one? Because you see, that's the thing. They're able to do that regardless of whatever discrepancies are going on. They understand that. They wear the team's jersey and they wear it proudly. We have to come to a place where we understand that we are one. I understand that the most important factor in us coming together and in being the most powerful humans that we were created to be on this earth. So therefore, being able to benefit of all those things that was provided to us, be it the resources, be it all those things that are being taken from us because we are ununified. Once we could come to a place where we understand that we are family, we are one, and that I am my brother's keeper, all those things that Ousman, that Amos, and that my brother spoke about, we will be able to realize all of them. I think it's time that we pick up the Black man's burden. That's it.
Wow, thank you, sis. Listen, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it's time for all of us to unify in some way or other. We all have issues. So I'm going to start on the micro and the macro. And Adrian is also going to talk to this because Adrian has some powerful words to share. So I'm just going to be very brief, yeah? On a micro, we have.
Hi, Juliet.
He said hi, H. Yeah.
Hi, Juliet.
Greeting, brother.
Yeah, we're not going to be much.
Yes. So sorry, I kind of lost my camera is not working, but I just want to tell you that I want to jump into a quick Zoom meeting, and I'll definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So, you know, if you'd like to jump in, jump in. I was about to say that I'm looking at the micro and the macro when it comes to unification, because I think there's some micro issues that we have to address before we can even address the macro. Yeah. Firstly, I mean, Sister Gina, you hit on a point, and the point that you hit on is important, which is first, we have to identify Africans, just Africans, yeah, regardless of where we're born, yeah, because, you know, there's that old saying, an orange tree, regardless of whether it's grown in China or whether it's grown in Africa or whether it's grown in Cyprus, it's still an orange tree. And so we are Africans regardless of where we were planted. We are Africans regardless of where we were born. And that has to be our first national identity. You cannot have unification unless you can have identification. That is the primary micro aspect of unification. How can I unify with you if I cannot identify with you? If I can't even identify with me? So these are the small micro issues that we have. We have self-hate issues which have been inherited by years and years of oppression, suppression, hatred, rape, abuse, misuse, displacement, and, you know, we've been totally exploited. And so, you know, we need to come to we need to come to terms with the abuse and the pain that we carry on a daily basis, everywhere we are as Africans. Another thing is that a micro issue is that we need to have race solidarity on a micro basis. That means that, you know, I will buy from my brother will be my friend, and I am my brother's keeper. Just on a micro basis, I am my sister's keeper. You know, my partner will look like me, my life partner, my children will look like me, just on a micro basis. Because once you've breached the family, you've breached the hull of the boat. Everything starts to come out and you're gonna sink. And that is it, because other nations have a very fierce race-first policy, and that's a micro. So they will buy from each other, support each other, and even if they're fighting, they will still support each other over you. And so this is on a micro basis. On a macro basis, when it comes to unification, the first thing we have to look at is, what do we call nation or nationhood? Yeah? What is our nationality? What is our heritage and our origin? How can we unify when we can't even have a geographical point that anchors us? How can we have unity when each and every single one of us is scattered all over the earth? And rather than supporting each other, we got crabs in a barrel mentality. How can we have unity when you have something called demand and supply? How can we have unity when we have unfair and unequal distribution of wealth? How can we have unity when we don't own our own resources? How can we have unity when we have people that still have white savior syndrome? How? Because you'll betray each other at the first hurdle. So the first part of unity is understanding, firstly, that we have to control our own destiny. There's no invisible hand that's going to do it for us. So we have to take accountability and responsibility on a macro basis for where we're going. We have to be involved in determining our future. There's no point in saying, oh, I want this to happen, but you're not going to do anything about it. So on a macro basis, we all have to become activists. On a macro basis, we all have to become leaders of our own destiny. On a macro basis, we all have to sit down, analyze and study and understand and learn African systems and ways of being. That's how you start with unity. It starts in your family. Your mother and your father show you unity. That's how you raise children in love and security. If we can't even hold it together in our own households, how are we going to hold it together anywhere else on a macro basis? So there's a number of things we have to learn before we can have unity, before I even start going across the borders and currencies. Yeah? Look at vloggers right now online. Tell me about unity. Tell me about unity. We are all Africans with equal African rights. But yet we still have some Africans that are, you know, in a white man's land telling us how and where we should live and what we should do and what we shouldn't do. All right? And whether we should have citizenship or not, or whether we can use certain words or not, like a dictator. So, you know, unity comes from the spirit of love. Let me tell you that. It comes from the spirit of love. I've not heard anyone talk about love, but unity comes from love. Love of your people, love of yourself, love of your community, love of your continent. Love it more than yourself. So you will do whatever sacrifice it takes to bring unity. Sacrifice your life if you have to. Sacrifice whatever you have if you have to. Be fearless because you must. That's how you can be, that's how you can start moving forward. Yeah? Adrian, I'm going to hand over to you. Just give me 1 second. Okay, Adrian and Sulayman.
No.
Ready?
Greetings, Bla Xit family. Greetings, greetings. First of all, I would love to give thanks to the ancestors, those who had laid their life down for the freedom of us today. Those Africans that leave the continent and make it to the West. Remember, that is our brothers and sisters in the West that stand up and fall against the white man. Fight tooth and nail to give you all that freedom to even reach to the continent, even reach to Europe, even reach to America, so that you could even fulfill your school and your dreams. Because you know what happened. You know, so I'm going to read some quote right from the Honorable Marcus Garvey, because sometimes it seems that we let their words go in vain. And it's time that Africa itself will wake up, you know, and this is a wake-up call for the African. Marcus Garvey said, a people, and this is very important, and this goes out to all the heads of states of Africa, yeah? A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without root. That's why Africa ain't growing, right? If you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. Yeah? Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. Let the voice of power go through. Right. They will hear it. Please, let the voice of power. Chances has never yet satisfied the hope of a suffering people. I have no desire to take all black people back to Africa. There are blacks who are no good here and will likewise be no good there. Men who are in earnest are not afraid of consequences. Blacks are not afraid of consequences.
Yes, we are already on NS.
You understand? Blacks are not afraid. I am not doing this for ego. I am doing this for we go as a people. And it's time the people move. Right? We are all Africans. And any African rise up against another African and speak filth about another African, don't know themselves, and don't know the history. right? And as Marcus Garvey said again, any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race for your survival is a leadership that will always enslave you. You're strong, you want to be patriotic, come back to your country and be patriotic. Stop sitting in the bosom of the white man country and shout from the voices of Europe and America to talk about liberation in Africa. You want to liberate Africa? You come back home to Africa. Time black people wake up and grow some strength. We've been defeated in the race of life for over 500 years. And we're still being defeated. And ignorance is the forefront of our humiliation. Because we've been defeated in the race of life because of our own ignorance. Unity is strength. And if we, the Africans, continental Africans, and the Africans born of the descendants, cannot unite, who gonna unite us? Because every other race rape and pillage and disrespect Africans. Citizenship for Africans should never be a subject. It should never be a subject. Because as Marcus Garvey said, Africa for the Africans.
Home and abroad.
Home and abroad. No African, no continental African could deny me my rights. I fear nothing. I'm fearless in the race of life. What is physical death? Nothing. Once I'm standing for my people, I will stand firm. No one could weaken me. Because what I'm doing here is from the heart. If people want to stay in the West and criticize the work that's been done here in Africa, right? Let them come and meet me here. Meet me here in Africa. Because I'm an African. And as Jabuk said, yeah? When you listen to the song Angola, nobody gonna take Mama Africa from we again. So continental African, we love you. But it's time you recognize that we're Africans too. You're no more African than us. Yes, you're never the ones that got taken, but it was your aunt and uncles and grandparents, yeah, that was taken. Some was thrown overboard and never make it to the Middle Passage. But guess what? We are the survivors. Are we coming back?
Survivors.
We are the Kunta Kintes. Because some of us today know that the strength and blood and fearlessness of Kunta Kinte still lie in some of us out there. Malcolm X stand up. Martin Luther King stand up. You know, for changes. That give most of our African brothers and sisters that travel to America and England and a place they're possible to be out there doing what you're doing. So now the sons and daughters coming back home. No more disrespect. No more disrespect. We're not going to be disrespected and we're not going to be defeated. So if some of you be paid by the white man for come obstruct repatriation, you're making a mistake. Because you got 200 million Kunta Kinte strong. Not coming back. Marcus Garvey said, when time for black people return back to Africa, not even earthquake going to stop us. Not even whirlwind.
Look for us in the world. Look for
Nothing.
me. In the world.
Not even your political system could stop us from return from where we once was taken from, fiercely and wicked. And any man, any continental African could stand up and deny us our rights. You have disrespected your ancestors. That's who you are disrespecting. Any man that have no respect for their ancestors and has no respect for their people and what have happened to our people going to the Middle Passage, you're not a man. You're subhuman. You understand? Let unity begin and let unity prevail. Time for Africans to wake up. You understand? We of the enslaved did not choose that course. Read history. Teach it back into the schools. And we will fund it so that it get back into the schools. Be proud of who you are. Be a proud African. Many of us lost our life in the West, standing up for what's right without the support of the African continent. of the whole continent of Africa, right, have a moral obligation to us that was taken and captured into the wilderness. No matter how they sit there, the seats were sitting as heads and heads of states. Yeah? You have a moral responsibility to reach back to us. Why can't you do that? Because the fear you have in your heart for the same oppressors that oppress us, you still obey their laws. You still let the laws dictate your country, the runnings of the country on a daily basis.
Right.
We need to stand up together as Africans.
Right.
Yes, together. Yes,
Honorable.
Yeah, I think you have spoken all with such a powerful, you know,
You just
with such a power, you know.
Don't touch it.
I didn't you said everything, you know.
Wait a sec.
It's fine, it's fine.
No, it's not. It's the wrong one. Got to call Seth.
Seth.
1 second. 1 sec, everybody.
Let me just start it again.
Guys, we're just changing cameras so that we can all be seen. So just bear with us because Adrian moved the computer. So we're going to go to Honorable Sulayman now, who's going to talk on unification. Then we're going to go on to automatic citizenship. Okay? Just bear with us 1 second.
Hey guys, share the video while you guys are watching to any diasporans that's interested in getting the understanding of Bla Xit's automatic citizenship, because there's been some misunderstanding, please.
Okay, technical issues are solved. We're just going to have to use it from this camera. Right, so Honorable Sulayman.
Yes, yeah, Adrian was speaking with such a powerful voice. So, and as the saying goes, when dry bones are mentioned in stories, old men don't feel, they feel uneasy. So, you know, once people talk bad about, you know, Africans or the whole issue of coming home, it's really offending us, and it should offend them, because if we should go back to history, you know, it's really disheartening, because our people were responsible one way or the other. We can't put all the blames on white people for this, because our African kings and chiefs contributed. They sold their brothers. Some gave their brothers up. Though some at some places they use force. Do you understand? They raid communities, we understand. But some of the African leaders also will be blamed for it. Now the time is for unification, call for unification. Let's come together and realize that what happened in the past was humanly wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. How can we put up our ideas together and do what we call family reunion? Do you understand? We should go out and bring our people. Now our people are saying they are coming on their own free will. I think they need to be given open up hand. We need to embrace them. We need to give them beautiful kisses. Come home, come home. The prophecy has come. You know, it has been prophesied by Marcus Garvey. You know, that one day, you know, Africans are going back to their mama land. And here we are here, you know. And he said, look through the east, there'll be a king soon. When that king comes, all of you should look up to him. He's going to be a redeemer. And he came in the name of Emperor Haile Selassie, the power of the Trinity, Rastafari. That's why, when he came, people saw him as the Redeemer. The man has come. Now, but the message, the struggle left by Emperor Haile Selassie has now turned down by who? It's us. I think we need to continue the mission. I want all of us to join Bla Xit. If you don't join now, it will be late. We are on course. We are moving. This is a journey. We're moving. Come now. We share ideas. Whatever you have. If you can invest into the sea, we make basis of our sea resources. Come. If you can invest into the land for agriculture, come. You are invited. If you want to invest into education, come. You are invited. If you want to invest into health, come. You are invited. It's time to bring the people of wisdom. How many African graduates are living outside Africa? And they are serving other people. The continent doesn't lack skilled people. But we don't need anybody to discourage others who want to come. If you don't want to come, stay where you are. But we need people to come, particularly those of African origin. Brothers and sisters, time has come. Whether we continue doing this or not, know that somebody somewhere is sitting down watching. He will continue the mission. He will continue. This is a spiritual call. You understand? We are not calling for unhealthy competition. We are calling for healthy competition among Africans, among Africans, and between Africans and other races. We have to compete. We need scientists, and we have scientists. Ousman made mention of something. The COVID vaccine. Having been African, we have our own vaccine. We will convince people to take the vaccine. But we can't convince people to take the vaccine. Why? Because it's foreign. It's foreign. We don't know. We don't know what the vaccine is all about. We are not yet convinced. People in the villages, they are not convinced. But if black people take the greater role in having their own medicine to fight against COVID, they will be convinced because they have the trust. So we must build trust among ourselves. We must be ready to rescue each other. We must be ready to do frank talk and have way forward. So I thank everybody for listening to us. This thing will continue, but as I said, us as lawmakers, the reason why we join you is a mission which needs to be accomplished, and it cannot be accomplished without our leaders. So the leaders must be involved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to just talk briefly to citizenship and why it's important and why it should be automatic. Some people are confusing automatic with immediate, and I need to explain to them the definition of the word. Yeah. Automatic doesn't mean immediate. Yeah. We all need to get some dictionaries and look at some definitions, okay? So automatic means I already have it. And let me explain to you why I already have it. So to all you naysayers that are talking about the word automatic and you have issues with the word automatic, I'm automatically African. Why didn't it ever dawn on you? Here, this thing called a mind. Okay, thank you, Honorable. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, why didn't it ever dawn on you that we're already Africans? Why? Where does that come from? You want keys? Sorry, 1 second. You want to use my car? Sorry for the interruption. So, this is the last thing we're going to talk about because I know we've kept you for like over an hour and a half. I know that. I forgot to ask everybody to please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Juliet said it late. Okay, but listen. So let me explain something to you. I am an African automatically. Why am I laughing? Because I've watched some commentary that I just think that you've got to be completely classically insane in your membrane to even say the things that you're saying. How can you look at me and tell me I'm not African? It's either you're blind, you don't know what a black person looks like, or you lack the intellect to connect blackness to Africa. Which is it? Which is it? Explain, because you know what? I was automatically born African. Automatically born African. Automatically born African. And no YouTuber, yeah, can take that away from me. No MP can take that away from me. No leader of any country can take that away from me. Self-knowledge is self-love. So for all of you that have a problem with the word automatic, go check yourself. Then go check your mother. Then go check your father. Because those are your African creators. And last time I checked, I have an African father and I have an African mother. The last time I checked my parents. So I think you're reckoning with the wrong words. I am already a citizen of Africa. Because let me tell you what happened. When my ancestors were taken, and don't forget, many children were taken onto slave ships, okay? They were hijacked, kidnapped, stolen into captivity. Children, some children as young as 4 and 5 were separated from their parents, and their parents, some of them were sent to Brazil, some of them were sent to Cuba, some of them were sent to Jamaica, some of them were sent to the States, to all different parts of the States, so from Maryland, Virginia, all the way to Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina, all the way around the world, also to Australia, Melanesia, Polynesia, also, you know, to the UK, to Europe. You know, we were scattered all over the globe. Don't forget that Arabic slave trade. I'm not going to forget that, because that also lasted 1,000 years. We can't let anybody off the hook. So when we were taken out of Africa, just like if I get on a plane now, let me just break it down into very simple terms. If I get on an aeroplane now and I travel to the UK, when I get there, do I automatically turn white? Do I automatically become British, English? Do I become a European? Do I have blonde hair and blue eyes? No, I don't. So I'm automatically black. And there's a song, I'm going to remind you about a song, yeah, by Peter Tosh. And I don't know if you all know the lyrics, but I'm going to unmute you because I want you to sing along, right? What does Peter Tosh say? I want you all to unmute yourself. What does Peter Tosh say? As long as you're a black man, you're a what?
You're an African.
As long as you're a black man, you're a what? You're an African. Okay? And so I'm going to talk to the fact that I'm an African automatically. Automatically. I'm already a citizen because I never gave it up. My ancestors, when they were taken, did not give it up. In fact, they didn't even have citizenship. There was no such thing. No such thing. And let me speak to the fact that we are the only race on this planet, the only race who suffered the transatlantic slave trade, the only people. And if you cannot see that we are a special case, you are more colonized than you think. You are more brainwashed than you think. You are more whitewashed than you think. If you don't see that I'm an automatic African, and I'm an African automatically. And I even call on those people that says, oh no, we weren't calling for automatic. We were just asking, you know, for fast track or slow track. What's that got to do with me being African? It's not about the vehicle. It's about the identity. Now, anyone who wants to go against me and tell me that I'm not automatically an African, I am asking the African governments, African nations all over the world to reinstate and to restore our rightful position, our birthright, to recognize our birthright, to recognize the struggle that we went through, to also know that I've seen flights going to Israel from Africa, flights going to Mecca from Israel, sending flights out of people going all over the world, conferences, this, that, pay for flights, private jets. When did you send a plane for us? Where is our recognizance? Where is our repatriation? Where is our reparations? Where is our legacy? Don't pay to our pain. You have a brain drain. You have a brain drain in Africa. Now you can have the brain back again. You want to talk with disdain? Think again. Because let me tell you something. You cannot erase our pain. Don't add to it. Allow us to come to terms with it by helping us heal. Help us by surrounding us in love, acceptance. Help us by working together with us in peace and love as brothers and sisters. Some of the hatred I've seen, I'm going to send it right back. Because some people don't deserve to be even having any kind of platform to be disrespecting their own. I'm never going to disrespect my people because I love you. I'm never going to disrespect a black person because I'm disrespecting myself. I'm not going to disrespect an African because I'm disrespecting myself. Yeah? My blackness is not going to be taken off my skin in a jar so that I can look lighter than what I am, because I'm proud of my blackness. I could be black as night. I will still be proud of my blackness. Many of our ancestors were raped. That's why we look the shade that we do. Okay? Many of the women were raped on the slave ship, raped before they even got on the slave ship, raped on the plantation. Don't forget ever our pain. Don't forget ever the sacrifices that our ancestors made. Don't forget the fact that you got bones in the river Gambia of how many people that died as a result. Millions of people died as a result of the slave trade, all the way up the Ivory Coast, all the way down to Gambia, all the way down to Senegal. Come on. How can we forget them? How has Africa forgotten us? How is it we've been written out of the Constitution to the extent that when I say that I want automatic citizenship because I'm automatically an African, you're doubting if I'm an African? How is it when I make a phone call and I speak to the PRO, a PRO, that's a public relations officer, someone very close in the government, and the woman calls me a foreigner? I'm like, what? Listen, we have got to sensitize and educate ourselves and remind ourselves of who we are, where we came from, and our mighty past. Because we had a mighty past. We had empires. We were unified. We had one constitution at one point. Africa was unified, and we can do it again. But Africa needs to open its doors to the sons and daughters of its soils. We are the sons and daughters of its soils. I am the reincarnation of my ancestors. My DNA is African. I am the rebirth of my ancestors, and I will not be denied. I will not be denied. So, if for example, the spokesperson for the government, Ibrahim Sankara, doesn't want to comment on the subject of automatic citizenship, despite being asked since the 1st of October 2019, so be it. It doesn't stop me from being African. It doesn't stop me from being a citizen of Bussorah. It doesn't stop me from being happy here. It doesn't stop me from living a wonderful life here. And it doesn't stop me from calling everybody home, because you deserve this life, my family. It's a beautiful, wonderful life, and you deserve it. Let me share with you, we had sellouts before, and we'll have sellouts again. Yeah? There'll always be people that are not loyal to their nation, not loyal to their people, and certainly will never be loyal to anything except for what benefits them financially. And we mustn't forget that. Yeah? Thomas Sankara knows that. Patrice Lumumba knows that. Stephen Biko knows that. All of our wonderful warriors that were killed and set up by their own people know that. But you know what? It doesn't mean that we cannot unify. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't have citizenship. I heard some people talking about we should screen them. We should screen who? We should screen what? And then when I looked at the statistics, I found out that in Gambia, 619,000 people, yeah, which I'd say 60 to 70% of them were from Europe and America, and they were European descent, origin, Caucasian, visited the Gambia in 2019. How many of them were screened? So don't come to me treating us like we got to screen them, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, because you're saying that about yourself. Every country in Africa has criminals. Every country in Africa has a prison. Every country in Europe has a prison. In fact, let me tell you something. In England, nearly every single major city and town has a prison, because there are criminals all over the world. Criminal behavior is based on a lack, on poverty, on systems that keep the poor poor and the rich rich. Crime is not a skin color. Crime is not a culture, and crime is not a people. It's individual acts done by individuals or cartels. So I've got to end on this note that citizenship is our birthright. Honorable Khalifa Saleh, he's told us that it is our birthright. It's an insult to even ask for a welcome. Okay? And that's where I'll end on what Khalifa Saleh said. It's our birthright, and no one should deny us of our birthright. So I'm gonna let the show flow and end over with you. We end in exactly 8 minutes. You got 4 minutes each to talk on the subject. So I'm gonna go to you, Amos, and then to you, Gina, and then we'll close. And listen, please, everybody, before I hand over, please remember to support Bla Xit. At the moment, we're trying to raise money for Canifing Hospital. I'm still adding it up. So far, I think we've got about 10,000 Dalasi to buy some gloves and stuff. And we are trying to also raise money for finish the road in Nemakunku before the flood disaster area, before it becomes another flood disaster area. So we've got a lot of major works to do there, and that's 97,000 Dalasi we have to raise in order to do that. So we're still doing a lot of works on the ground. Because I don't talk about it, it doesn't mean that it's not being done. Yeah, so everybody that wants to stay out in the diaspora and criticize us and what have you, yeah, I'll send you the bill for the road, and I'll send you the bill for the hospital, and I'll send you the bill for everything else, seeing that you're such dedicated and patriotic citizens, right? For us, it's all about unification. Let's all work on the same side. I said, let's create a program, which is a 2-year program, which is when we come to the airport, instead of getting a stamp that says you can only stay in the country two weeks or something, which is what happens to people that are coming here to live for good. That system is not a good system that works for us. It just doesn't work. In fact, it's not nice. So there needs to be something in place. If you haven't made preparation for us, well, it's time to start planning now. Things change, laws change, yeah, and they're supposed to. So anyone who wants to say, oh, let's, stick to the law, it's supposed to be 15 years and you must adhere to it. No, we don't have to adhere to it. Laws change all the time here. They're fluid. And that's the whole idea of having a democracy, is that you can change things. Things don't have to stay the same, and they shouldn't stay the same. If they are, we're not advancing. And so at one point, slavery was legal. At one point, slavery was legal. Are we not glad that changed? 1833, 1st of August, 1834, the Act to abolish slavery came into play in Parliament in the UK. That's a change of law. Why can't we have a private member's bill to change the law here too? Isn't it high time that we had change? I'm going to hand over to you two quickly. So Amos, you're up, and then Gina, you're up. Don't forget to please help to donate and support Bla Xit.
Thank you very much, my sister Juliet. You have talked on very touching words there in regards to automatic citizenship. But I want to say, whether you are born in Caribbean or born in Jamaica or born in Cape Town or born in Kenya, Rwanda, we are all Africans. Being an African is not color. Being an African is ideas on the thoughts of Africanism. So let us not say that provided that you are not born in Africa, you are not an African. We are all Africans, and we are working towards one goal of making Africa better. Now, on my parting shot, I would wish to tell young people who are listening there that this is their time. We have lamented a lot. We have looked past for so long. It is now our time to do the little things in our small capacity that later will bear better fruit for us. Africa is not suffering, but Africans are suffering because of the greed. And young Africans are suffering because they are accepting to be misused, to be misguided by rotten systems. So it is time for us, Africa, to wake up. It is enough of all this talk. Now it is time to work together, be it the government, be it the head of states, be it parastatals, be it organizations. Let us come together and work for the betterment of Africa. I like to refer to people to a book that I read previously of Robin Sharma, which says that it doesn't matter when you work for something and success come out. It doesn't matter. So it is our time for us to build Africa. It is our time for us to appreciate the African in diaspora, because there are people who are contributing to our economic development in Africa. So we are all citizens of Africa. Nobody should come out and say that we are not citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have one thing to ask you. You said that African is not a skin color. Are you telling me that white people are Africans?
No. I'm saying that being African is having the ideas. You can, your color, when you talk of color, you can be brown, but you're an African. So what I'm saying is Africanism is selling the ideas of ourselves. Yeah. Yes.
I was teasing you, just in case anybody else might have mistaken what you were saying. Okay. So over to you, Gina.
I want to thank you. Thank you guys for everything that you've said. Thank you for inviting me, Juliet. This was really awesome. I've learned so much, and especially from both of the young men that was on the panel. And yes, the honorable. I want to say this. It's really man, this process that we're going through, this coming together as a family, it's truly a family. And in families, you have good days, you have bad days. You have days that you are less supportive, days that you are more supportive. But in the end of the day, we're all family. And I'm really, I'm very optimistic that the ancestors are not waking us up to put us back to sleep. Last night, I was just so angry. I was so hurt. I carry the weight of my ancestors with me constantly. What happened to them? Not just the ones that were taken across the oceans, but the ones that remained and were colonized and were brutalized and were decentralized and split apart. Because you see, the more I learned about my brothers and sisters on the continent, the more I realized what they went through. And last night when I got offline, after screaming and going crazy and being hurt, because what was hurting me was not, in actuality, is not about citizenship. It's a piece of paper, y'all. We didn't, like Juliet said, we weren't using paper before. We just all were connected. We understood that we were all one people and we were doing our thing. They put these things into place and we've been following them ever since. And today, I mean, you know, ever since the Berlin Conference, we've just been following the leader. It's time that we realize who the leader is. It's time that we start understanding that the leader that we're following is not us and maybe not beneficial to us as a people. I'm looking forward to following the lead of my brothers and sisters wherever they come from, be it on the continent or off the continent. I see us as one people. But going back to what hurts the most about the talks, all the talks about citizenship, is the realization that some people don't really know much about everything that we've been through, and they're not ready. I'm not going to say that they're never going to be woke. I'm just saying that they're not ready now to understand the impact of everything that was done to us on the continent. I look forward to the day that our children's children could look back and say, wow, was there a time that we weren't united? Did this really happen to our people? Maybe one day, and I say this quite often on my channel, that we'll be looking at these our children will be looking at these YouTube archives, because I'm sure they'll have new trinkets by then. Computers will be so old that they'll probably just be looking into the atmosphere and be able to visualize into different dimensions. And they'll look at this and they'll say, wow, look at these great grandparents. This is when they were uniting, guys. This is a time when our people weren't united and they were talking about uniting. Because talks of citizenship, talks of being accepted back to a continent that you were ripped off of, is really big talk about reuniting with our family. How did we think that it was going to be a simple process? It wasn't simply done. It was a lot. They tore us away from each other. There was a lot of sellouts. There was a lot of backstabbers. And I think the coming together is going to take the same process. We're going to have a lot of sellouts, a lot of backstabbers, and we're going to have some people that are going to be doing whatever they can to bring us together. We had all of that back then, and we're going to have all of that now. The beautiful thing is that we're here. We're having these conversations. I'm optimistic. I'm grateful to you, Juliet, you, Bla Xit. I'm grateful to everyone that is doing the work within themselves, more than anything, within yourself, towards the love that we need to have towards each other. It's hard to love ourselves. We were conditioned not to like ourselves, let alone the person that you're looking at that's telling you they're generations apart. You can't even like the tribe next to you that you've known for centuries. Come on. And it's not just an African thing, guys. I'm from Haiti, trust me. Always fighting because they pinned us against each other. They made us not trust ourselves because we got to remember that was the biggest trick they played on us. They made us not trust each other. So we're going to have to work through this. It's not going to be simple. There's going to be nasty people in the comment sections. There's going to be people with channels that make nasty statements and try to rile up a whole bunch of people to feel the way they do. But in the end of the day, understand that unity is the answer. It is the solution. It is our superpower. That's it.
Wow. We got superpowers. Yeah. So listen, I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for joining the panel today. It was great discussion, a great program, and unity is the key. And I think from this, one thing that I'm going to put it all together now, just to summarize that, we started with African liberation. Yeah, I'm going to let Adrian close because I'm going to go off. But African liberation, the only way is through unity, yeah, and citizenship. When I say that, that's an identity of all of us as Africans. As one, we are many, and as many, we are one. And if we can understand that concept, we will love each other more. We will be with each other more, support each other more, come together more, put petty differences aside, cultural differences aside, language differences aside, and learn once again to come back to that very basic thing, which is the natural nurturing love, like a mother would naturally have for her child. That is the way forward. Not to use colonial rules and colonial laws and colonial mindsets to divide us. We have to unite. We have no choice. We have no choice. I think people have short-term memories when all the planes were landed and you couldn't move from one place to the next, wondering if you was ever going to make it to Africa. Wondering if you was even going to, survive this so-called pandemic. Wondering if they were going to try and destroy all of the currencies. Wondering if you was even going to eat food. Let's not forget, if we can grow what we eat and eat what we grow, and we can come together, we can control our own resources, we can unite as Africans, one people, one destiny, one future. It is our birthright. We deserve to be happy. So, as one we are many, and as many we are one. And remember what I said, the only way to eradicate racism is to leave it behind and go live with your own kind. Come home, family, come home. It's better to be among your own. And I thank you from my heart. I'm going to let Adrian end. I'm going to say thank you for coming. I'm out because I've got to run to do something else. But I love you. Thank you for supporting us. Everyone that gives us donations. I will be getting thank you letters out. Please bear with me. I've just been working on the citizenship thing hardcore. So please support us. We've got to come together on this citizenship. We have to come together. I need your help. But I'll be telling you more about what we're going to do, what our action plan is, but offline. One love, one family, one unity, one nation, one people. As one we are many, and as many we are one. Hey, I'll let you finish. I've got to run. Okay.
Yes, white people, give
Sorry,
thanks.
let me just squeeze up.
And thank you all.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. No, just against the God.
You don't even understand.
Yes, yes, yes. So thank you, Bla Xit family. Thank you all for listening to us, and thanks for your constant support. You know, unity is the key. Unity in the community. Yeah, let's unite. Yeah, you know, let's work together in harmony. Africa been waiting for this for a very long time. And to all of you people that are not showing love, please find it in your heart to show love. As K-Button said, clean up your heart and come. Because of pure corruption at that Rasta bun. Clean up your heart and come. You know? Let's face the reality. Africa been suffering for a very long time. And some of it is our mindset. We have to heal, you know? We have to heal our mindset. We have to heal. We have to look at each other as our mirror image. You understand? We have to look and realize that we are our only strength. You know, we have to stop being cowards and be fierce. You know, be fearless. Every other nation provide for them people. And we are the only one looking up to other nations for our survival. Let's come out of that. Africa is the most fruitful continent on the face of the earth. But yet to come and find, I mean, you know what, brothers and sisters, let's just wake up and live. Yeah? Let's just wake up and live. Let's wake up and let's live here. You know, we're educated people. How did we get here? Why you fight against me, brother? But you not fight against the enemy that brought us in here and now. Our division wasn't built up by ourselves. We was divided by people with wicked intention, nasty intention. And they still have the laws here running the continent. How much more longer are we going to be oppressed? How much longer are we going to be voiceless? How much longer are we going to be going to that corner and hide? How much more longer are we going to be dependent on our same slave master to free us? That will never ever happen. We have to free ourselves. And it starts with each and every one of us stand up and be accountable. Stand up and be a proud African. You know, that's what we need to do. Stand up and be proud to be African. And we have every reason to be proud to be an African. Yeah? Respect each other, because we're going to need it. This is our time. This is African time to unite. You know, Bob Marley sing about this. Bob Marley said how good and how pleasant it would be before God and man to see the unification of all Africans. As it's been said already, let it be done. We are the children of the higher man. Yeah? Africans unite. Because we're moving right out of Babylon. Fire burn Babylon. You see? So my people, stand up, man. Stand up. You know? Stand up. Holy waters, we don't got time for you. And a foolish question. You know? Just go away. You understand? Just go away with your foolishness. You see, you're the kind of people that always come with foolishness. To come with, if you're white, crawl back in your cave. You understand? Go away. You know? Yes. So, my people, just give thanks, man. And keep your head up high. You know? Keep your head up high. You understand? Yeah, holy waters, man, just be positive. No time for foolishness, man. These are serious times we deal with. These are serious changes that need to make. We are all Africans. We love African people. I die fighting for my people. You know? Let's be humble. Right? You know, let me just block all the waters. Because sure, look at this foolishness. Let me just block this guy here with the foolishness. Yeah. Yeah, you see, these are the kind of destruction and obstruction I get. You know, you always get them, you know. But from now on, I will ignore them. But Africa is on the rise, man. Even here in Gambia, the brothers and sisters here in the continent are beautiful people. You know, most of them, when we go out there, we feel the love of the African people. Gambians are lovely people. We've been living here with you all for a while. You know, every day I get visit from my neighbors, man. Some of them drop off gifts, some of them come and, you know, they say hello, they make sure that we're okay. You know, only just a few out there trying to spoil it. You know, coming really to divisiveness, but go away with that one. The loving spirit of the Gambians here is great. We've been here, and as you know, Black Xit, we never said nothing negative about our Gambian brothers and sisters. We got great brothers and sisters, Gambian brothers and sisters in the West that rally behind us. Those are the people that wake up and continue fighting for the liberation of us as African people. You know? Many Gambians here are respectful people. We love the Gambians, man. You know, all the honorable MPs that come and support us and realize that we are one. We respect them. When we went to the National Assembly, they greet us in love, and show us love, show us brotherhood, sisterhood. And this is what it's all about. You know, we cannot change history, but we have to correct the mistakes of history. That's what we have to do. Correct the mistakes that was done in history. And some of us have to take on that strain. Some of us have to take it on. You know, let's not use citizenship to divide us. We are all Africans. And as Marcus Garvey said, Africa is for the Africans, home and abroad. So if some of us want to make Africa our home again, there should never be any more problems. We shouldn't be meeting any resistance. Right? Where people start to compare our struggle with other struggle, it is wrong. Because no other race have anything like the transatlantic slave trade that lasts for 400 years. How could 400 years of history be wiped away so easily? As Bob Marley asks. 400 years of history. We have ancestors born in the West, enslaved. I didn't even know there was a continent called Africa exists. Because they born and denied the right to even read. Think about 400 years. Slavery was not 400 years ago, but it started 400 years ago. And slavery was up until the 19th century. How could we forget? How could we turn on and show our brothers and sisters returning home a cold heart? You can't. You know, we have suffered for far too long. We have suffered for far too long. And it's time we unite. Who are we benefiting by not uniting? The same enemy. The same enemy come and disrupt our lives. The same enemy that come and capture us and take us away in captivity. By we not uniting, they're the only ones that benefiting. Because by we not united, they could still come and rape and pillage and do what they like with Africa and Africans. We need to see past that. You know? We need to see past that. You know? And some of us that are living in the West, stop being fooled by the illusion of inclusion. You understand? Just stop being fooled. Because we've been in the West 400 years. And shows a great achievement that Black people really have made in the West. Because compared to every other race in the West, where are we? At the bottom of the food trade. Stop falling for the illusion of inclusion. Come back and fix your own country. Yes? Come back to Africa and rebuild it and shut them out of Africa, and you will see how fast the West fall. The West need Africa, Africa don't need the West. Be proud African, you can't be a proud European as an African. You can't be a proud American as an African. You have to be a proud African. You know? So let's come home, man. Let us be our brothers and sisters keeper. We've been suffering for too long. Colonization has affected all of us anywhere we find ourselves on the face of the earth. Colonization has destroyed us. And the white people, they still coming praying on us up until this day. You know, as Sizzler said, freedom call. Black people, wipe the tears from your eyes. Too long we are there in disguise. You know, let's go back and listen to our reggae music and listen to the words, man. We're African people, man. Right now, I'm gonna leave. So give thanks to your support. I continue to support Bla Xit. And we love the African, we love Africa. And Bla Xit always gotta be stand fighting for Africans, home and abroad. Respect, man. We love Gambia. Gambia itself is on the rise. Africa is on the rise. You know? Yeah, man, respect. Respect. And as I say, you all could ever type it. Fire, burn, Babylon. Yeah. Africa for the Africans. So give thanks, my people. I'm going to end this broadcast now, you know, because I have other things to go and do. You know, and I'm always going to be here for you. Bonjour, no, give respect, sister, because you're always there. Like a pillar, supporting Bla Xit. You know, Watermeyer, give thanks, man. We see the work you're doing. Brother Watermeyer, we see the work you're doing as a young man. You will go down in the history of Africa. You're changing lives. You know, respect. You know, Brother Ousman Touray, the motherfucker gonna start calling you His Excellency Ousman Touray. God, this is where you are. That's your destiny. You're doing the work so humble. You're such a respectful young man. You have no arrogance. You understand? You is definitely what true leadership look like. A young man that could articulate yourself in such a way that you move the hearts of people. Respect to you, Ousman Touray. You know? Yes, good. Fire burn Babylon, man. It's Africa time, man. So all your people, man, let's love one another. You do not disrespect Bla Xit. There's a need to. Come work with Bla Xit, let's strengthen. Because together we are strong, divided we are weak. You understand? But I'm definitely going now. I'm definitely going now, you know? I give thanks to Professor Lumumba. Give thanks to them that's still carrying the fire. You know, that's still waking up Africa. You know, well, give thanks. Give thanks to our ancestors that lost their life. Dirty Bookman, Kunta Kinte. What do you think they would think of us now? We are coming home and we have made certain rejections. What do you think Kunta Kinte and them? How do you think they would feel? When they say all their loved ones get thrown overboard for sharks to eat, people go back in the history and feel compassion. That's what you're on here for. The people go back in the history and feel the compassion. Remember, there's a hang us from trees by our ribs until we die. Yeah, and maybe cut us down for dog to eat us. Those are your ancestors. And those are the blood of them in us. Because they couldn't kill all of us. You understand? We are survivors. As Sizzler said, we remember to be strong in this time. You know, let's remember to be strong. You know, give thanks, people. I'm gone now. Sorry, I'm gone. I keep going. I'll keep going and I'm not going, but I'm gone this time, eh? Give thanks, my brothers. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks.